First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your First Alert forecast. 19 News starts now.
All right, live look outside now through the 19 First Alert camera network. Not pleasant as we are coming off a nasty night, 2 rounds really, of severe weather.
And the National Weather Service confirmed an EF0 tornado touchdown in Wayne County. Thanks for joining us. First at 4, I'm Nicole Versansky.
Yeah, now Brian Duffy, 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page is back with us.
Yeah, she's tracking the rain around today and some flooding concerns as well.
Yeah, that's going to be the big concern, especially as we continue on through the rest of this evening, just given how much rain we saw yesterday and even into the early hours of this morning, all courtesy of the system that did bring us all that severe weather yesterday afternoon into the evening hours. Just want to give you an update on that tornado damage survey. Again, this was in Wayne County, an EF0, so we're talking peak winds at about 85 miles per hour. The path length wasn't super long. It was only on the ground for a little over 1/10 of a mile, and you'll see the start and end time the same. So it really wasn't a super long event tornado activity, but we were tracking that storm. Jason was, especially yesterday late into the evening as it continued to move across some of our southern counties. You see a lot of those damage reports basically along that southern zone, and that was all courtesy of that storm. And we've been tracking all the damage, especially closer to the Cleveland metropolitan area, and you'll notice a lot of wind damage, a little bit of flooding concerns as well, and that's going to continue as we head into tonight. Flood warnings still remain in effect through this evening. You can see several counties included in this because we could still pick up an inch, possibly even a little bit more than that in some locations if you continue to get more of those rounds of rain. Right now, observed rainfall over at Hopkins, a little over 2 inches, almost 2 1/4. That's a lot of rain in just a 24-hour time period, and that is why we are concerned with the flooding as we continue into tonight. I'll walk you through where the rain chances stand over the next few hours in just a few minutes.
All right, and remember, we will never make you wait for a First Alert. Our complete forecast always available to you on our free streaming app, 19 News Plus. Well, tons of you sent in pictures, damage from all over the area. We certainly appreciate that.
Dan DeRose joins us now with some of those pictures, and get your phone ready because he's going to have a QR code for you to use where you can send your pictures later.
Yeah, we hate to see the damage, but you know that phrase, and I hate using cliches, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I want to show you this first picture. This is a shelf cloud. I just confirmed that with Erica. This was sent to us by someone, Saccone was the name they put in. I want to zoom in. Just look at that ominous layer of clouds. It starts here, and then the dark section of that. That's one of the storms that rolled through. Here's a picture given to us by Cleveland Fire last night. Yikes, hope you had your insurance paid up. The amount of damage, and it really was, it wasn't centralized. It was our western suburbs. It was our eastern suburbs. We can go to this picture in Amherst. We know Amherst saw some of the worst of it. And I look at this tree and look at how massive it was. And it's that splitting. Now, this may have been a dead, decaying tree, but when we see that splitting, that's where the National Weather Service will have to get in there and look and see if there's actual twisting or did it just split apart. But that is an absolute mess. Here's Columbia Station again, just proving that this was really a region-wide event, a pine tree that had gotten across the road there, the Columbia Township Fire Department helping out with that. Here comes the QR code. If you have some pictures of damage, we want to see it. I'm going to get out of the way here. There is the QR code. Get the camera out on your phone, point it at that. That'll get you right to our weather page where you can upload. It's very easy. Make sure you do give us your name and what city you live in so we know just again where some of the worst of the worst damage was around the area. Brian?
All right, Dan, thank you. An alarming situation in Wayne County. This is in Shreve, especially after a confirmed tornado touchdown in the county yesterday. The tornado siren in the village's latest test, and then last night, as the village was under a tornado warning, did not go off. It didn't work. I talked to the village administrator and I talked to the mayor there today. They told us that they called the service provider weeks ago to have the advanced warning system serviced, but that work has not yet been done. Mayor Josiah Martin says, quote, "My administration is in direct coordination with BNC Communications to bring the system back online as quickly and safely as possible.
Start of it with those like 60, 70 mile an hour winds, you just see it whipping through.
Yeah.
Powerful storms have left a trail of damaged trees, branches, roofs, siding, flooding all across our area.
Yeah, downed trees, snapped power lines, flooded homes. They're really forcing neighbors now to clean up and try and pick up the pieces.
Our team coverage continues with Brittany Weir live in North Ridgeville. Brittany, I'm sure you've seen a lot out there today.
Brian and Nicole, yes, we've seen this damage all over North Ridgeville, and right now we're at the corner of Lear-Nagel Road, which has been closed all day long due to a tree that came toppling down into the middle of the street and took down wires with it. But the good news is that FirstEnergy did just show up here with a new utility pole, so we're going to stay positive out here. But the road is closed from where we are here at the Adams Avenue intersection all the way down to Chestnut Ridge. But people all across North Ridgeville, they're still dealing with those power outages and flooding. Downed trees, snapped power lines, and flooded homes could be seen all across North Ridgeville on Wednesday, leaving neighbors to deal with the cleanup and waiting for the lights to come back on. For Mark and Terry Neal, the damage is inside their home. 2 to 3 inches of water flooded their entire first floor.
The sump pump was in there.
Okay.
That's what backed up
Okay.
and filled this whole area.
Mark says he woke up around 2 a.m. to find the water already rising. This afternoon, he and his family are doing whatever it takes to recover.
Went back and squeegee and tried to get this all out.
Thankfully, members of their church brought a pump to help clear out all the water.
Our pastor called a church member.
Yeah.
He came with the equipment to help us out. So
Help pump all this out.
And he's right now getting me a
a generator to
generator.
help.
Across the neighborhood, downed wires are forcing road closures as crews work to clear debris. Neighbors like Sean Bailey lost power around 7 last night. He says the storm was unlike anything he had ever seen.
The wind, like I said, it was like a tornado in the back of just water everywhere, and you couldn't even see across Brook Park Road.
North Ridgeville Fire responded to about 28 calls overnight, a high number for a single storm. Assistant Chief John Graff says downed wires are still a major concern for anyone out and about.
So for the community, if you see a line down, don't assume it's one or the other. Just stay away from it. Let us come on out. We'll get a hold of the power company and the utilities to take care of it.
Crews are still working to get the lights back on. And for families like the Neals, the cleanup is just getting started.
I'm going to try to save this thing. It's going to be a long day.
Right now, the power is estimated to return around anywhere from 11 to 12 o'clock tonight, so still several hours. But the assistant fire chief does want to remind everybody, if you are using a generator right now, please keep it in a well-ventilated area. Live in North Ridgeville, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
19 News with continuing coverage coming up in just a few moments. The damage on the east side. And at 4:30, we head to North Olmsted, where they've got a lot of cleanup going on there as well. And you can always share your pictures through the 19 News weather app.
This is a 19 First Alert breaking traffic alert.
If you have loved ones who typically head west on 480 through Northfield at this hour, you need to call them to let them know to avoid it. We have hour-long delays because of a crash that's on 480 west over by Warrensville Center Road. But this is backing up drivers well past Northfield and actually all the way back to 271 north and south and even 422 west. So if you're about to be heading this way, you're going to be seeing speeds slower than 7 miles per hour across the board. And like I said, this is going to be keeping you on the road for at least an hour to an hour and a half longer than usual. So you want to avoid 480 westbound from 271 southbound and 271 northbound. And also from 422, because this is a headache on the highway that I've been first alerting you to for an hour now. But I want to bring you here to Medina County, where I'm seeing an 8-mile stretch of stop and go traffic for drivers who are We're heading east on 76 between Seville and Wadsworth. With speeds just as slow as 11 miles per hour in that direction, you're going to be dealing with 30-minute delays, with those backups really heavy over by 57.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, for the first time in more than 50 years, NASA is sending astronauts to the moon.
This is exciting, isn't it? Right? Yeah, the mission named Artemis II is set to take a crew of 3 Americans and 1 Canadian farther into space than ever before. Michael Yoshida is at the Kennedy Space Center, Florida, where we are nearing this historic launch.
Heading back to the moon.
We are really pumped to go do this for this entire team. It has been a lot of work. It's been a great journey.
Artemis II, the first crewed mission of NASA's Artemis campaign, is sending 4 astronauts on a trip around the moon. Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Cook, and mission specialist Jeremy Hansen of the Canadian Space Agency.
This is an exciting time, and it is going to truly test our mettle.
I'm so grateful to those that paved the way for me to be here and for all of us to be here, and it's an honor to potentially inspire the explorers of the future.
It's the first time since 1972 that humans are going to deep space.
We are in a space race. If human beings are going to endure, we have to find another planet to live on. The moon is the first step.
Powered by NASA's new SLS, or Space Launch System Heavy rocket, the Orion spacecraft launches into Earth's orbit.
That thing is 322 feet high, and 300 feet of it, thereabout, is all propulsion. So we're literally brute forcing our way into orbit.
After some tests, Orion will then make a roughly 4-day, 250,000-mile journey to the moon, passing by its far side. At a distance between 4,000 and 6,000 miles above the lunar surface, it is expected to be the farthest any human has ever traveled in space. Orion then returns to Earth for splashdown off the United States west coast.
The golden age of space exploration, there's so many amazing things happening, and we should be proud, all of us.
At Kennedy Space Center, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Last night, severe storms did leave a trail of damage all across our area, including at a Geneva restaurant that's really been a community staple for 2 decades.
Yeah, these places are so important to these communities. The owner of Honeybees says the restaurant is closed, and she has no idea when she'll be able to reopen. First at 4, Isabella Roberts is live for us. Hi, Isabella, in Geneva with the story.
Brian, Nicole, crews have been out here at Honeybees in downtown Geneva working to clear parts of the roof and the vent that was ripped off of their building during the storm. You can see right now that tarpon piece of the roof hanging off of the side of that building. All of these damages leaving the owners of Honeybees with no choice but to close their doors today.
Sorry, my friend, I can't offer you a coffee either.
Irene Risco spent this morning turning away customers at Honeybees. Tuesday night, severe thunderstorms causing damage that forced the restaurant to close.
Hi, Bill. Yeah, we're closed.
Oh, you closed?
Yeah, that's our bin.
Heavy rain and 60-mile-an-hour winds caved in the roof of Honeybees and knocked down a vent. The storm forced all businesses in the building to close.
This is vent for our kitchen hood, all the way on the top of the roof. And the part of the vent went all the way to our neighbors.
Risco and her husband have owned Honeybees for 20 years. She says they learned about the damage just after 6 o'clock Tuesday night and rushed over to the restaurant.
Shocked. We are devastated because this is our livelihood. This is our community hangout place, and I've been here for so long.
Risco says she is now working with her insurance company but has no timeline for repairs yet. Geneva firefighters say they responded to several storm damage calls Tuesday night, and Honeybees isn't the only building affected. Our crews saw debris scattered across multiple buildings in the area. Firefighters are still on scene today assessing the damage.
Hi, my friend, we are closed.
As for when Honeybees will reopen, Risco has a message for her customers.
Hold on. We'll try to open our place again, back to normal. This is disaster that we can't really predict.
Now, Now, the restaurant was closed during yesterday's storm, so thankfully no one was in the building or hurt when all of these damages occurred. Risco telling me she's thankful for the amount of people from the community who have reached out and asked what they can do to help. And right now, all she's asking is that customers remain patient as they work to rebuild. Live in Geneva, Isabella Roberts, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we continue to watch the weather. 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page rejoins us.
Yeah, she's tracking all the rain out there today. A lot of communities have seen like several inches of rain we're talking.
Yeah, and the potential then that you could have some of the downstream flooding concerns. And here's the thing, it's not our only rain chance as we go through the next few days. So we're going to continue to add to some of these rain totals as we begin the month of April. It's typically a soggier month for us, and we're going to live up to that name here, I think, as we go through the next few days. Live look from Edgewater Beach. You can tell the water's a little bit choppier thanks to that north wind, ushering in some of those colder temperatures across the area. We're going to still be dealing with some scattered showers as we move through the rest of this evening. May get a couple of breaks during the overnight, but I do think we'll have one more round that rolls in early tomorrow morning before we really start to see more pleasant temperatures by tomorrow afternoon. And yes, a little bit more sunshine as well. But this is just the start of what's going to be a pretty big pattern change to wrap up this week and eventually look ahead towards the holiday weekend. We'll kind of talk you through how this weekend's weather is looking to shape up. Right now, some of the heaviest of the rain moving through our far eastern counties, Portage County, out towards Trumbull County as well. Warren right now seeing some rain, heaviest just a little bit farther to your south. And we have one more batch of heavier, more steady rain that's eventually going to be working its way closer to that 71 corridor. So if you're down towards Mansfield, Ashland, even West Salem, you got a little bit more rain coming in from the west. This is going to be the theme over the next couple of hours. I'm not saying you won't find any breaks. I think you will here and there, but it's largely going to be an evening where if you have to be out and about, you'll want to have the rain gear with you. By the time we wake up early tomorrow, a few more showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder possible. This is a warm front that's moving through, and it's going to bring us some very pleasant temperatures by the afternoon. I'll talk about how warm in just a few minutes.
Okay, now on to your top four. At 4, the National Weather Service has confirmed an EF0 tornado touched down in Wayne County last night.
So it touched down and then lifted at 9:56 and had a width of 225 feet, peak winds of 85 miles per hour.
Yeah, and remember, there's no such thing as a small tornado, right? 19 News reached out to first responders in the areas where tornado sirens were set up, but there was no significant damage reported. We do have storm damage all over our area. Here's one example: flooding in Lake County. Willoughby Hills, the Chagrin River nearly crested at 14 feet this morning. Branches, debris, standing water led to some roads that were forced to close. The river did not spill over its banks, but some yards were flooded, and of course plenty of homes lost power.
The Supreme Court heard arguments today on President Trump's executive order to restrict birthright citizenship. The president was there in person but left after 1 hour. He argues that the 14th Amendment, saying that people born within the United States are citizens, does not apply to the children of people in our country illegally or temporarily. Lower courts have found the order unconstitutional. Ahead, what happens next?
Well, the countdown is on. A group of American astronauts, one Canadian, prepare for a mission around the moon. Around the moon. Thousands, hundreds of thousands are expected to gather around Kennedy Space Center to watch the Artemis II launch, the biggest space crowd since the last shuttle flight 15 years ago. Launch time set for 6:24, and you can watch it right here.
Wow. President Trump will address our nation tonight.
That's right. It will be a speech that the White House says will provide an important update on the war with Iran. This comes as the president says he expects the conflict to be over in the next 2 to 3 weeks. On Tuesday, another U.S. aircraft carrier pushed off from Virginia headed to the Middle East, but the president said the U.S. continues to negotiate with Iran.
They had one goal. They will have no nuclear weapon. And that goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear weapons. But we're finishing the job, and I think within maybe 2 weeks, maybe a couple of days.
Airstrikes continue to hit Tehran, followed by plumes of smoke rising above buildings in Iran's capital. Meanwhile, Iran kept up its attacks on its Persian Gulf neighbors.
Breaking at this hour, a plane bound for Portland, Maine was diverted to Philadelphia for an emergency landing. The crew reported hydraulics and nose gear steering issues. The American Airlines flight left from Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. An airline spokesperson said no one was hurt. The jet's nose gear issue is going to be repaired and should be back in service later today. The FAA will investigate.
All right, also breaking, a wild scene on the island of Crete in Greece. Look at this.
Thanks.
Looks like Mars or something. Skies were draped in an orange haze today. This is caused, we are told, by dust in the air, creating a haze that in this case has that orange hue. Strong winds push sand and dust particles from the Saharan desert in northern Africa across the Mediterranean. Planes had to be diverted. The dust comes as a storm front passes through the country, bringing rains. Boy, they could use some rain. I bet they're waiting for it, and strong winds.
Well, speaking of the rains, we're getting a lot of it right now. Continuing coverage of our widespread power outages, too, and storm damage.
Yeah, this was something else. Our Noelle Williams continues our First Alert team coverage now from North Olmsted.
The damage speaks for itself. We've been everywhere from Westlake, now here in North Olmsted. Here's a look at this tree that fell down in front of this home on McKenzie Road. Now, we really want to show viewers how massive this tree is. For instance, I'm about 5'11". Take a look at where this tree ripped out at the root. This is higher than 6 feet high. Then I'm going to walk over and show you just how long this tree stretches. It covers majority of the front yard, reaching over into the driveway of their neighbor. Some of the twigs and branches even being on top of their neighbor's garage. We spoke to the neighbors at this home. They did not want to be on camera, but they tell us last night they were in their backyard sitting on their deck. That's when they heard a loud boom. They looked out into their neighbor's yard and saw this massive tree. Now, here's a look at video that 19 News also we received from one of our producers from the strong wind and rain from yesterday. Now, this is what people were experiencing that led to this extensive damage that you're seeing here, definitely inducing a lot of panic. But again, here's another look at this tree in front of this home on McKenzie Road. Thankfully, this tree didn't fall anywhere closer to the home or on top of any power lines. We are also keeping an eye open to see if there are any emergency crews that are working on power lines right now. We will continue to monitor this and also the extensive damage across Northeast Ohio. In North Olmsted, Noelle Williams, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Well, in addition to some of the storm damage that you saw in Noelle's report, you probably also noticed some puddles that were on the ground. That's all courtesy of all the heavy rain that we've received over the last 24 hours. These numbers just keep increasing in some spots. Cleveland Hopkins now up to 2.3 inches of rain in just a 24-hour time period. Akron right now 2.15 inches, and we still have a little over an inch and a half as you get a little bit closer to that US 30 corridor as well. So with additional rain possible, some of it could be heavy at times or very steady. We still have those flood warnings that remain in effect into the early part of this evening, and we will have to watch for some flooding that will continue to be possible over the next few hours. Live look at Doppler radar right now. You can see a couple heavier pockets of rain approaching the 71 corridor and just off to the west. Temperatures also a little on the cooler side as well. That is going to continue. We'll track the end of tonight's rain and the warm up on the way in just a few minutes.
If you have the 19 First Alert weather app, you were well informed through our severe weather. So grab your phone, scan this QR code to be able to download it for free if you don't have it. As we head into storm season, you're going to want those live radar and storm alerts sent directly to your phone.